So I had some metal straws. Well, my wife had some metal straws, and I cut them apart, and they so happened to just barely fit over these springs. Sorry, I can't really illustrate that well. Anyways, that's a spring there for the shuttlecock here for the case feed, and then there's a spring here to goes to here. Spring with the hole, an adjustment here to go to another one of those attachment points down. Well, yeah, there you can see it good. So the length of the spring is important because, and the stiffness of this is important because it'll compress all the way, and then it'll change the geometry through the stroke here, like so. So it'll compress all the way. Like you'll see this. Sorry, I got shit all over me, all around me. So it'll come out, right? And as you can kind of see, you gotta watch that a little bit because it'll compress between the show holder here. So you're gonna have kind of a smaller straw here. Got this idea off another guy off of YouTube. Because if you push it like so, see, it'll spring like a pull spring, but it also, when you bring it up, it collapses. It's hard to show. God damn it! Everything's just in the way. When you pull it, it starts to act as a pusher as well. See? So if the spring, if this has any resistance in it, which it will, the shuttlecock, this spring will just bow out, right? It'll just come out and it won't do its job. So to help stiffen it, you can put something inside of it or outside of it the right length. And I just had something on the outside because I seen the straw through somebody else. So instead of putting something inside, I put something outside, and that way it'll act as a pusher and a puller. And of course, that's got to be up far enough to rotate this, and this freely rotates. It's like a ratchet system. So I had problems with it being dry and it's starting to have issues, so I put these metal straws on the outside of these springs. It had helped for like 50 rounds, and then like you can see, and I'm just trying to point the fucking camera here, if you like, you can see where the tip of the spring is. That's all mashed. That wasn't like that per se, for the simple fact, come on, that wasn't mashed as bad, and I'm gonna take that apart maybe if I feel like pushing my luck. But this around on here, it was attached like so, and it come across here like so, you know, attached, and it had crushed it, and it had curled it, and then I had tried fixing it, it had worked, and then it crushed it again. So I'd advise you, if you have problems with these bowing and not doing their jobs because they're not quite stiff enough, because really they should be really fucking stiff. They just add a lot of press feel to the pull handle when it's really fucking stiff. So I don't have any cartridges in there, and it's kind of acting like it's got a little bit of a cartridge in there from it. Smashing it, see. And That's also from that factory crimp die here, because I got a decent taper on that. I could probably back that up a little bit, because right there is Mechanical Max, and I've got just a little bit more on that. So I could have gone a little shorter here. I just eyeballed it. You could stick a small little, like a real thin rod in there. That would really help. You probably want to watch the weight of that even, or the length of that, my bad. And then for this, I'm going to have to order another one. And the only places you can buy springs off of is Lee. And I'm probably going to order here soon like 3 of these replacements and like 3 of those replacements, so I can get my rod length right. And once I set it up, it should be good. But yeah, it's got a plastic ratchet system, and you can bring it up to where it doesn't index and then turn it constantly. Because the only, I know this is a fucked up video, but if you see, come on, just got that ball detent there to keep that system good for a location on the actual shell holder itself. But yeah, I got powder in it, and it doesn't really do anything. I did have a problem, like you can see right now. I've got one in the shuttlecock here, but I also got a primer there. So basically I got to come in here and feed that to a shell. So for now, what I can do, since here real quick, what I can do is every time I want to prime, I can just operate this manually, because this does have a stop. I can't pull it completely out for some reason. I could probably pull it up or find a spot to where it'll pull up to remove it, but it does have a stop here, and this isn't too much to, and then slide this by hand to prime it, or you could just skip that. But the biggest thing is this. The biggest thing that I've noticed, hold on. So put my 308 case in here. I lubricated it on my lubrication pad. Noticing how much of that I am noticing how much of that hangs off the back, even though that's fairly set up. All right, you can kind of see it. This press runs really good when it's run slow, so it's down all the way. It'll shuttlecock in. I gotta use 2 hands here, hold on. All the way down, and I've got my primer tube collector. I shortened it just so that way it wouldn't hit my foot down here, because I put my foot here and I put my foot over here, and I kind of wrap my leg around my other bar, and I hold my hand on here because there's no weight on the back of this. It's just a small pedestal. So I'll push it in, pull it out. It'll index. I can make sure it's pushed in. Primed it. Gotta use 2 hands on this. Push in. M-expand. Pick up another primer. And then it goes up onto my butchered funnel. And then I'll take a little Dixie cup here. Loosen this. This is just the seat die that I had with the spare seat die setting. And it should. I'll make sure that this is seated. See that snap there? That's pretty much as best I'm going to get it with one hand. I'll take and I'll, with two hands of course, make sure it's all in there. Set this up here. Pull this down. Take one of my bullets, and I accidentally made one of these cartridges with a bullet upside down, and it did feed if I put the round in the chamber in my G3, but it didn't feed from the magazine. I tried it from the magazine and just plunk it in the chamber. It plunks into the chamber, but it doesn't actually work from the magazine because these need a little bit of a rounded profile for these magazines to work here. All the way down, and then so I gotta kind of figure out which one that was. Maybe this one. Yeah, I think it was this one here. You can kind of see how much of a crimp I'm putting on them and how deeply I'm seating them. And I haven't run these yet. I'm going to keep the lubricant on them and see if it'll dry the lube out. Keep the lubricant on it, keep them short, and see how it functions with that. So to see if I even need to clean the lubricant off of this. And I think I necessarily won't have to because as dirty burning as this cartridge is, not obviously factory ammunition, but the cartridges that I'm making, as dirty burning as this is, and it still functions fine, I think this little bit of lube isn't going to hurt it. I think it'll be hard to clean completely free and clear. It might take a little extra time once it's fired to clean it from my dirty ass rice here, but I think it'll be a-okay for my purposes. Because after all, this is just hobby use. Even though I tend to think of it as somewhat serious hobby use. Yeah, you see all the lubricant on my hands. That's just from this cartridge here. I get it coming off. All the shiny, glittery bullshit. And I'm using RCBS case lube too on one of the green pads. So, yeah, I got some more improvement to do. This bolt here came loose. I found a shorter bolt, and now it should be mounted straight to this steel sheet here. That one goes through one of my running boards here, so I can't shorten it any. I just tightened it up a bunch, and it's compressing the wood, and I've only got the two, and it's not even in the right hole here. This is a mounting hole. This is the hole I'm using, and it's a flange nut, so that way it eats the side of this because it's not big enough to do the whole thing, I don't think. So it's actually compressing this here little shitty aluminum, and yeah, so that's how I have it mounted pretty much. Even though there's a bunch of extra holes here that should be used, I think. And I don't know if you can see that all right, but that's the underneath side of it. If my mount set up, and this is just a, you know, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch pieces of sheet steel. I think it's 1/4 inch piece of sheet steel. That was scrap laying around that I just had bolted down to the couple of boards here. That's what I reload on, and then I recently added these here so that way I can take that die. I just put it in hand tight. I try to put them in just hand tight so I can get them out easy in case I need to for these breech lock adapters. The size die's in there tight right now. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, see, that just plops out. And yeah, so I just have this so that way if I want to take like this die out, I can just have a spot for it wherever I want it. So that way I don't try to lose shit. Yeah, I'm gonna see if shortening them up works, but they feed pretty well when they're short like this, so. That's enough rambling. And, yeah, bye.